Hello, I'm Jenna Johnson, and this is COVID-19 News. According to the World Health Organization, the U.S. now has over 7 million cases of COVID-19 and over 203,000 deaths attributed to the virus. In just the last 7 days alone, the U.S. has seen an increase of over 300,000 new cases. And expect that number to get much higher because the Center for Disease Control predicts that by October 17th, a little less than a month from now, there will be between 140 and 370,000 new cases of COVID-19 and between 214 and 226,000 total deaths attributed to the virus. The models that were used to predict those averages assumed that the precautions for slowing the spread of the virus would continue. But there's always that one guy that lets his group of friends talk him into doing something stupid. That guy blowing his ass out for a squat? That's Florida. Those guys around him? That's the GOP. And the guy filming the whole thing, that's the ringleader, who knows exactly how stupid it is to be doing what he's doing.
It goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus.
Even though the president in private acknowledges how deadly this virus is, and that out of all 50 states, Florida ranks 5th in total COVID-19 deaths, which is 14,000, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, signed an emergency order to fully lift coronavirus restrictions.
In the state of Florida, we are today moving into what we initially called Phase 3, and what that'll mean for the restaurants is that there will not be limitations from the state of Florida. We're also cognizant about the need for business certainty. There have been some local closures and other types of restrictions, and so we use our resources best when we focus them on the people that are most vulnerable to COVID-19. And I think that that's readily apparent that that's the elderly population. CDC recently revised and put out a new best estimate for the fatality rate for infections. An estimation, not cases, because there are way more infections than documented cases. Here's what they have. So if you look under 20, the survival rate, if you're infected with COVID-19, according to CDC, is 99.997%. If you're between 20 and 49, the survival rate is 99.98%. So under 50, that is less than seasonal influenza in terms of the severity. Now, when you get to 50 or 69, 99.5%, that's more severe than seasonal influenza. It's probably real severe, probably akin to a real severe flu. And then, of course, 70 plus, 94.6% survival rate. That is really, really significant, and that is where most of the hospitalizations and the mortality have come.
Dude, just because old people go there to retire and die doesn't mean you have to help facilitate their death. I've been to Florida many times, and the more affluent communities are mostly over 50, and those are the people most at risk. There is no business certainty when the people bringing you the most business are dead. Death means there's zero chance for repeat business. Then there's this part.
So the order that I'm signing today will guarantee restaurants operate, will not allow closures. They can operate at a minimum of 50% regardless of local rule. And then if a local restricts between 50 and 100, they've got to provide the justification, and they've got to identify what the costs involved with doing that are.
The justification for keeping capacity at 50% is that there's a pandemic. Okay, wait, I just seem to be channeling problem customers from when I used to wait tables back in the day. Here we go anyway. The justification for keeping capacity at 50% is that there's a pandemic. I don't think we should be lifting restrictions because there's literally an infectious disease spreading over the entire planet that is affecting a substantial number of people. How many people? Well, let's just say that over 202,000 Americans have died as a result, and the cost of lifting restrictions is your life. There. Are we good? Good. Also, these nachos are soggy, and I asked for extra avo, and it never came, and there are old people all over the place, and I think they're dead. And I come to this Chili's all the time, and I would like to talk to a manager. Former Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders is virtually touring the world to promote her new book, Speaking for Myself. One of her stops was an interview with an Australian reporter.
Your book makes it clear that you're heavily guided by your Christian faith and family values. How do you reconcile that with having been the spokesperson for a president who has misled the American people on everything from coronavirus to climate change, who boasts about grabbing women on the pussy, who paid hush money to a porn star to keep her quiet about their alleged relationship, and who's maligned the men and women of America's armed forces?
Oh, well, some of those things are just patently false, but I can tell you from my experience, when the liberal mob was attacking me, when the liberals were kicking me out of restaurants, making fun of my hair, my makeup, my fitness to be a parent, saying I should be choked, telling me that I'm vile, not even human, it was the president who was defending me, not the liberal mob, not the elitist who claimed to be all about women's empowerment, but Donald Trump was the one who supported me, defended me, and encouraged me and gave me confidence to take on that job.
I noticed that you're not addressing the central premise of my question, which is how somebody like Donald Trump squares with the values you espouse.
Wow. I like that reporter's style, but I don't think Sarah was briefed on the kind of interview that would be. That was definitely more of a deposition than an interview. After that, I bet Sarah told her agent, "My next 10 stops better be Fox and Friends and a Chili's." Also, there is an angry lady at the bar complaining about Australians. Could you take care of that? Thanks. In other news, Donald Trump visited the casket of Ruth Bader Ginsburg as her body was lying in state at the U.S. Supreme Court. Dude got booed off the stage. I bet that booing is the only thing that prevented him from grabbing her by the pussy. In related news, Donald Trump has nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett to replace Ginsburg on the Supreme Court. Barrett belongs to a charismatic religious group that helped to inspire The Handmaid's Tale. Trump is already asking how soon he'll get a handmaid and already debating with himself, do I call her off Donald, or do I let her stay Ivanka? The grand jury decision in the Breonna Taylor case was delivered, and only 1 out of the 3 officers involved was charged. Not for the murder of Breonna Taylor, but for the firing of bullets that went into an apartment next to hers. It's called wanton endangerment. According to Kentucky state law, wanton endangerment means the officer engaged in conduct which created a substantial danger of death or serious physical injury to another person. Which begs the question, how could the officer be charged with wantonly endangering Taylor's neighbors, but not with endangering Taylor herself? He got in trouble for something his actions could have caused, but not for something his actions did cause. Basically, the grand jury is saying, we know you killed someone, but you could have killed someone else, and that's much worse. You could have accidentally shot innocent white people. Because no murder charges were issued, protests have continued around the country, police have been shot, curfews have been issued. On top of that, the pandemic continues, our government is divided, and so are the people. I am optimistic, though. I believe America is strong enough to carry any burden. I've been wrong before. I'm Jenna Johnson, and this is COVID-19 News. Thanks for watching.